everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliverti. Last week, we sat down with birth father Kyle, who shared his experience of placing his son for adoption over 10 years ago. His story was extremely powerful, as it's very rare that we have the opportunity to really hear the birth father side of things. We're going to continue that discussion with Kyle today as he offers some advice for other men who may be facing an unplanned pregnancy and considering adoption as an option. Now let's turn to Kyle. What advice would you give to a birth father, or rather an expecting father, who is kind of in that situation where she wants to do this and he doesn't, and he refuses to kind of learn more about like what is open adoption, what could this look like, and just kind of slams the door to this whole conversation? What advice would you give him in terms of, understanding the woman's perspective of why she's choosing adoption?
So the best advice that I could possibly give anyone when it comes to something like this is education. Even though you don't want to face it, it's going to be there. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. And that was the biggest thing that made me feel comfortable going through what I do. Even still today, going through and talking about it, there's still moments where I get choked up about it, or, I'm like, wow, that was crazy, that experience. But it's all about the education and all about having that backbone. There might be some times where you don't have anyone. If I didn't have my family to lean back on, for an instance, my ex, her family was very against it. Slammed the door in her face. And if it wasn't for the agency that provided some, even counseling, they provided some counseling for her, or Joan just constantly calling and being like, hey, how you doing? Checking up. She did that for probably about a whole year afterwards, and it was on both parties. It was on my side and my ex's side, and it was just knowing that you're not alone. You're not going to be alone. You're not going to be shamed. You have support. You have people out there that may not know you personally, but they care. Like for an instance, myself, if a birth father came to me, was like, I don't know what to do. This idea is just absurd. And came to me and talked about it. I was like, how did you do it? Hearing from someone who's gone through it and seen it and experienced it, and especially coming from my point of view as a birth father, it can help someone, so that's my best advice. Education.
And it's hard because oftentimes, like you said, education, people just are not aware of like what your options are, what open adoption can be. They think it's just you place your child and never see them again. But for you, Nathan is going to be 11 this year, or 11. And to see the smile on your face because you know how happy he is, and you get to see him through pictures and letters and visits. that's really powerful.
Yeah, it really is. It's not a shut, closed, society. You can pick that road, or you can pick the open adoption road. Like myself is like, I wanted to see him grow and flourish and know in myself, you did make the right decision. I couldn't go through wondering, what is he doing? What's going on? What's going to happen? What is he doing? How is his year like? That's why we went with an open adoption, because we get to see all that. We get to experience it. We're not right there with him, but at the same time, we get to experience through pictures and through letters and through, videos and seeing them in person.
Are you proud of your decision, and do you have any regrets?
I am very proud of my decision. I do not have any regrets. It was a very tough time in my life, and I know that where he is now, he has a phenomenal life. I have a good job and everything like that now, but I think he experiences a better life than what I do as an adult. He goes to Disney World and, he goes on trips, he's on vacations. I would have never been able to provide that. Being so young, having no structure, having no family, I wouldn't have been able to provide the life that he deserves. What he has now is amazing, is phenomenal. He has two loving parents that love him unconditionally, whether biological or not. He's loved. And, when he gets older and stuff like that, he can always come and talk to us. He can always come and, hey, can we come visit you for a change? Hands down, come on down, So no, I don't have any regrets, and I love the decision I made. I'm very happy I did.
What advice would you have for a prospective adoptive family who is comfortable with open adoption, but maybe is a little hesitant of, what is this going to look like? Like, should I be scared? What are the boundaries going to be like between a birth mother and a birth father? Like, what advice would you give to those families?
So I went through the exact same thing. I had my inner feelings of where do we stand with this? How far can we go with this? And the best advice I can say is be open with your feelings. Every birth parent and every adoptive parent is not going to be the same. We expressed our feelings like, hey, look, we really want to be in the background and see what's happening, see what's going on. And they're like, no, not a problem. And we even met their extended family, their, Nathan's grandparents and stuff like that, and other members of the family. And at his birthday party, we were invited and we got to meet other sides and other family. And it's just like, you just got to be open. You have to say what you want also. Your voice matters just as much as they do. And, you might be able to come to a standard ground like, hey, yeah, you guys can come down, but, you can't come down every weekend. You guys can, we'll send you videos, but, it's on once a month, or, you just have to come to an agreement, a solid agreement. And it's just being open and honest with what you guys want to and what they want. It's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. It's two ways all the way.
So tell me a little bit about today, where you're at in life. And it sounds like you recently graduated, and tell me a little bit about your goals.
Yeah, so actually, long story short, it's actually kind of funny that I graduated with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And a lot of that I want to go in and eventually work with, basically doing what you're doing, social work. And a lot with the adoption aspect. I wouldn't have never thought about that career field if I didn't go through what I went through. Seeing how Joan helped me and seeing how, the impact she had on me, and just to think of what I can do for other people. Today, I ended up moving back home. I got, remarried back in upstate New York, and, getting remarried, and, Jordan, my wife, she has a 8-year-old son from a previous relationship, and, I love him like my own. And he's even very understanding, and he'll see pictures and be like, oh, who's that, when we first got back together and everything. And it's like, this is, Nathan, blah, 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 explain the whole story. And he's like, wow, that's pretty cool, and if an 8-year-old can understand it, we can all understand it, But yeah, today, like I said, I graduated with my bachelor's in criminal justice, and, I'm remarried, and here I am.
Well, it sounds like you certainly pursued all your goals and just kept moving forward in life, which is just a wonderful story to tell.
Yep.
I can tell you that the adoption community would be lucky to have you become a part of this and be a social worker.
Thank you.
You are phenomenal. I speak on behalf of the audience in saying thank you for being you. Courageous that you come on camera and share your story, because I think you're going to be really helpful to other folks who may be considering adoption and are just fearful of it. I think oftentimes the birth father perspective just goes untold. People think it's all about the woman because she's the one giving birth, but that's not always true. And for you, you had such involvement before, during, and after, and even up till today, 11 years later.
Exactly. I know it's crazy. It's insane. It is, and anything that I can do, and when someone goes through it, the best thing is to say your story. So like how you said, anyone who's having doubts, someone's been there. Every adoption, of course, is not going to be the same, but we all went through the same concept. We're a community, like how you said, the adoptive fathers and, the birth fathers and stuff like that, there's not a lot that come out and speak out, and I understand why, trust me, coming from my point of view, but it's made me stronger, and it's helped me personally. I'm not the type of person that I can just be like, okay, this is done and be done. I like talking about it now. It took me a little bit, like I said, but here I am. I'm on camera talking about, expressing my feelings and saying it's, it was a phenomenal journey, and I could never take any of that back.
Well, thank you so much again. Again, guys, we're hopeful that this has helped spread more awareness about the birth father perspective and the birth father journey. Please continue to tune in, and we will see you all soon. Thanks so much.